Tractor Power returns to the Mid-South Coliseum here in Memphis, Tennessee for round 2 competition. Here are your matchups. Bigfoot goes against Awesome Kong, and the Buffalo Tremor will match up against USA 1. Then it's the Carolina Crusher and the Jersey Outlaw, Wild Hair, and the defending national champion Equalizer, all coming up in round 2 competition. All right, here is Andy Brash, your fast qualifier, 557 cubic inches, 1,000 horsepower, and Steve Kane, Bigfoot against Awesome Kong.
Of course, Bigfoot's keeping that left lane, Gary. He seems to like it. Of course, being the fastest qualifier, he'll have lane choice throughout the rest of the day.
All right, Brash stages Bigfoot. Steve Kane stages Awesome Kong. Chevrolet against Ford.
Oh, Gary, just from experience, that was some excellent driving by Andy Brass there with Bigfoot. You seen how close he came to the wall. Watch, his takeoff was great, but as soon as he bounced, he got a little out of shape there, but he was able to get it down. Look at the suspension on that truck work when he comes to the finish line.
We heard Johnny Kwasniewski say earlier this was a suspension racetrack, and we see the suspension win for Bigfoot right there.
Andy, you take a bad bounce with a new chassis, you're in a world of trouble. I think that last run proved that.
Yeah, it did. You know, we bit kind of off to the right side, and it sucked us over there. I'm going to start lining up maybe a little bit to the left on the cars. I've been doing it a little bit because this track's been pulling me to the right. It's just, I don't know if it could be I'm just lining up wrong on the hill.
You like horsepower, we have horsepower. 1,500 horses in the Buffalo Tremor, 1,200 horsepower in USA 1. Johnny K against the Ritual.
Steve Wilkie, now he's psyching himself out here. Now, I know from experience, you got to get your mind in frame of what you're about to do. It can be dangerous out there, so you got to just put everything out of your mind and keep control on what you're doing.
The pre-race ritual from the cockpit of USA 1. Steve Wilkie, he is ready. Johnny K is ready. Let's see what the horses can do. Another near nose stand by USA 1 and almost a rollover by Johnny K.
Excellent driving by both of these guys. Watch what happens here. USA 1 gets a little out of shape, coming over in front of Johnny. He almost wants to hit the brakes and keep him hitting him.
Well, Steve, you know how wild your ride was just then?
Yeah.
Okay, Buffalo Tremor had one just like you right next to you. That was scary.
Well, that's what it's taking, Army. Hey, you can't play no games anymore. We're coming out, we're hammering 1,600 horsepower and attacking that hill. And when you come over the hill, you're going to leave the hill. You come and hit the cars like that, and you're going to go nose over. It's that simple, and we just got to learn to deal with it.
Up next, here's the bright yellow Carolina Crusher of Gary Porter. The Chevrolet is at the line. He is waiting for the Jersey Outlaw. Mike Wine has had trouble starting this Ford all afternoon.
I had a regulator on the fuel pumps. One of them went out on me. Instead of having a damper in there regulating 7 pounds of pressure onto it, I'm feeding all of 14 to 15 pounds of pressure to one carburetor. Each round I go outside, I have to pull the spark plugs out of it and literally let the fuel run out, return it over, then put the fuel plugs back in it to start it.
So that's the case that Ford's drowning in its own fuel. Here we are. There's the green. They're underway. And the victory goes to Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher.
Of course, he gave him a good run with Mike Wine's truck not running too good. But I tell you what, Gary Porter is very consistent when he runs these kind of courses, and you can almost guess what's going to happen.
Gary, in the last interview, we talked to you about the fuel you're running, and everybody here in Memphis is having a fueling problem except you. I think you made the right move there.
I think so. Coming over the hill, you know, if the fuel and everything isn't right, you'll get a hesitation out of your motor, and I'm not having that problem this weekend.
Everybody's motors seem to be richening up. We see a lot of black smoke coming out of these rascals. What's causing it? The altitude, the weather outside, or what?
It is, and the fuel I'm running is making my motor, you know, it's running better. It's not running as much raw fuel out there as exhaust, and plus it's making the engine run cooler.
Here now is your final matchup for second round competition. Marvin Smith in the Wild Hair in the near lane, and in the far lane it's David Morris in the Equalizer.
Of course, Gary, if I was going to guess this race, I'm going to have to put my money on the Equalizer.
Well, not a bad prognostication as the Equalizer takes the victory. He moves into the Final Four for the semis.
And we can see what happened to Wild Hair right at the starting line. You've seen his tires spin, and he couldn't hardly get over the hill, and that gave Equalizer a big advantage.
And Army is with David Morris.
Why did you go to the other lane? All day long you've been running out of this lane, and then bam, we get this far in eliminations, you jump over to no man's land. Why'd you do that?
Well, the reason for that is
Foot's got the fastest qualifying time here today, so he's going to have lane choice over anybody that he runs.
Here in the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, we are down to the final four, and Rich Hooser, you have the matchups.
Well, Gary, we're in the semifinals, and it's going to be a good one. In the first heat, we got Bigfoot going up against USA 1, and everybody knows that's always a tough race between Ford and Chevrolet. And in the second heat, Equalizer is going to be going up against the Carolina Crusher, who is not that good on indoor tracks, but he is awesome on the outdoor tracks. So in the semifinal round, it's going to be great.
Rich, here's a driver who's good inside or out, Andy Brass in Bigfoot number 8, the two-frame monster truck. A lot of talk about this new suspension.
This truck is running roughly 24 inches of travel in the rear and about 18 to 20 inches in the front. It's like landing on new cars all the time.
Steve Wilkie is the new driver of USA 1. He rates himself as a driver.
I don't know, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably in the 4 or 5 range right now. I'm fairly competitive, but it's going to get better.
There's no love laws here. It's Chevrolet USA 1 against Ford in Bigfoot. And Andy Brass takes the victory, and once again, up on the nose is Steve Wilkie in USA 1. Let's take a look again. A good start for Bigfoot. Andy Brass, the two-frame Ford, but once again, trouble as the rear end rises up in the air. He almost comes over. Rich, talk to Steve and see what the problem was.
Okay, Steve, you've been pumped up from winning all these rounds now. What happened on that last round against the Foot?
Well, again, we got to run so hard to try and keep pace with the Foot here that we're hammering it off the line, and the rear tires hit that first car. And you go nose over, and all you can do is hammer it and try and drive it out and then try and stop before the bails.
Well, talking from experience, you did an excellent job of keeping that truck under control.
Thanks, Rich.
Okay, hey, Andy, come here.
Good job, buddy.
Hey, both tremendous run. Now, both of you were a little nose down there coming across that set of cars. What did it feel like to you with that new truck?
I didn't feel so bad with the truck. You know, it felt like we was running a little bit on the front end, but we just stayed in it.
Well, here's a guy that prefers running outside. He tells us why.
I like running outdoors better because there's room for a mistake, and if a truck has an advantage over you, have room to run down and catch them. We're in here, one mistake, you're a history.
Well, horsepower used to be the big factor, but defending national champion David Moore's an Equalizer predicts it will soon be the suspension.
You're going to see a lot more trucks with different design suspensions on them that's going to help these trucks really move down the tracks fast.
The Carolina Crusher, the near side, the Equalizer, the far lane. Who will go up against Bigfoot in the championship round? It's the Equalizer with an easy victory.
Of course, his suspension was working great there, Gary, as we're going to see here on the replay. Watch this truck. It's just running perfect. Now, going up against Carolina Crusher, it's not an easy win. You got to work for it.
We are set now for the championship round. Here is how Bigfoot got there. The fast qualifier with a bye in the first round. He defeated Awesome Kong, and then he defeated USA 1 in the semifinals. And the Equalizer won over Nightlife in round 1, defeated Wild Hair in round 2, and the semifinals took out the Carolina Crusher. And here he is, Andy Brass in Bigfoot, the two-frame Bigfoot number 8. The crowd loves it. It's Ford against Chevrolet, and there is the Equalizer. There is the Chevrolet of David Morris.
Now, Gary, if I might say something here, the Equalizer hasn't changed his truck over the past 2 years. And, of course, Bigfoot coming out with a new truck. But David Morris is one heck of a driver, and this is anybody's race.
And it looks like a photo finish between the fastest qualifier, Bigfoot, the second fastest qualifier, the Equalizer. They get a good equal jump off that green starting light. A lot of air under Bigfoot. Almost too close to call. We'll have to check with the judges. Army?
Are you aware in the previous rounds that Bigfoot has been so consistent? What, he's running 376s?
370, Bigfoot's been running 379, and Equalizer's been running 385. So Bigfoot should have won, but I tell you, like Equalizer, he just gave a little extra kick there.
Well, he was flying on the end. The times we just gave were times they've been running all afternoon long. I mean, it wasn't just one run of 379. He made 5 runs like that. That is consistency. Gary, the finals coming up. Rich and I are going to be down here watching all the action. You keep us informed up top side.
Well, Army, obviously you've had the word down there as we have just received the top side here. It was officially a tie, the first time ever in monster truck competition. Andy Brass has taken a look at the videotape. He'll go back downstairs and prepare for another shootout with the Equalizer. More coming up from Memphis. Stay tuned.